Wow, all this rain we've had lately has been something else. I bet it's got a lot of folks thinking about their homes, especially their drainage.
You got that right. All those images we've seen of flooded basements and such, it's like a real wake-up call about how quickly heavy rain can really, push those defenses to their limit.
Yeah, absolutely.
All those things, like floor drains, stairwell drains, even that main sewer line. So what we're doing today, we're going to take a deep dive into, why this happens.
Mm-hmm.
And even more important, what can we do about it?
That's what we're here for, right?
Uh-huh.
Peace of mind. So our goal today is pretty straightforward, to give you all the knowledge you need to keep your basement from turning into, a swimming pool.
Right.
Nobody wants that.
Exactly, yeah.
And we've been poring over some really interesting, insightful stuff to get you those key details.
Well, when that heavy rain hits, that sheer volume of water, it's looking for any way in,
Yep.
It's kind of like talking about basement windows, stairwells, those that dip below ground level, and of course those floor drains. And it's really fascinating when you look at how these entry points often connect to systems that themselves can get totally overwhelmed.
That's a great point. It's not just the water coming in, right? It's the water that's already there and trying to get out.
Exactly, yeah.
So if those stairwell drains or the floor drains in your basement are clogged, even with something as simple as leaves or mud, anything really, well, that water's got nowhere to go. It just backs up.
Absolutely. And the problem can even extend to your main sewer line,
Yeah, wow.
And if you think about all that pressure, all that immense pressure from that stormwater entering the system, if you've already got a partial blockage in there, something like root intrusion.
Yeah.
Where those tree roots, they actually grow into your pipes, or even if it's, just debris and stuff, that added pressure that can cause, a sewage backup right into your home.
So, okay, that's scary stuff. So what should people be looking out for? What are those early warning signs that maybe their drainage system's having a little bit of a struggle?
Well, you might see some water pooling, around those exterior stairwells.
Okay.
After a heavy rain, right?
Yeah.
And inside, you want to listen for those gurgling sounds from your basement floor drains.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
That often means air is being pushed back up,
I see, yeah.
as the water's trying to go down.
Makes sense.
Yeah, and pay attention to your indoor plumbing as well. Are your sinks, are your toilets draining slowly?
Oh.
Specifically when it's raining hard, that's another red flag.
Gotcha.
But of course, the most obvious sign, and probably the most concerning, is if you start seeing water, or worse, sewage, backing up through those basement fixtures.
Yeah. No, that's definitely a bad sign.
Exactly, yeah.
So let's talk about what we can do to stop this, right? What proactive steps can we take to kind of minimize these risks in the first place?
Well, simple maintenance can go a long way.
Okay.
Regularly clear out those leaves, dirt, debris from your stairwell and basement drains, just to make sure there's a clear path for that water to flow.
Makes sense.
And it's worth, periodically testing your floor drains. Just pour some water down them, see if it drains quickly.
Okay.
If it doesn't, there's a potential blockage there.
Gotcha.
And then also make sure your gutters and downspouts are clear, so that they can direct that rainwater away from your foundation. If they're clogged up, well, all that water is just going to end up right next to your house.
Right.
It's not doing you any good.
And, this is a little bit more practical, but it's a good tip. Know where your main sewer line cleanout is.
Oh, that's a good one, yeah.
It's usually a short, often a white or black capped pipe located near the foundation of your house. And knowing where that is, well, that'll give a plumber quick access, if there's an emergency.
Absolutely, yeah. So, going beyond those essential steps, are there any sort of more advanced or less obvious solutions that our listeners might want to think about? What's really fascinating here is, thinking about the value of installing a backwater valve.
Okay.
This device goes on your sewer line, and it acts like a one-way door.
Okay.
It lets wastewater flow out, but it prevents sewage from backing up into your home, during those heavy storms or if the sewer system gets overloaded.
Right.
It's a really smart investment, especially for those older homes or those in flood-prone areas.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So just to kind of summarize what we've talked about today, we know that heavy rain can overwhelm home drainage through a lot of different entry points and blockages. We talked about the really important warning signs to look out for, and we gave some very practical prevention tips.
Yeah.
Everything from, clearing your drains to, making sure those gutters are clean.
Absolutely.
And it's really, if you think about the bigger picture, think about the age of your home and where it is.
Right.
If you're in an older area or a place that's prone to flooding, maybe just checking your drains regularly and maybe even thinking about a backwater valve. Well, that could give you real peace of mind when those big storms come back around.
It really could, yeah.
It's really all about understanding, where your home is vulnerable
Mm-hmm.
and taking steps to stay dry.
Yeah, absolutely. Have you ever thought about how the age of your home, how that might actually affect its drainage during a big storm?
That's a great question to consider.
Yeah,
I think we've all got some homework to do after this.
I think so, yeah.
Thanks for listening, everybody.
Hey folks, it's Jim from Aya Quick. If this rain is causing backups or your basement's starting to look like a lake, don't wait. Call 314-429-7131 and we'll get you flowing again. Mention this podcast and get $20 off your service. Tell them Jim sent you.